Hello, I'm Rebecca Guevara. I'm an instructor for your course. So this is going to be college algebra, and this is the Maymester version of this course, meaning that we're running into this through this course in a little less than 3 weeks. So you see that it begins May 19th and ends June 15th. Like I said, this is just a tad shy of being 3 weeks long. So this is going to be a fast-paced course. But let me get it started and what we're going to be looking at. All right. So an overview for this course, what we're really going to be doing is we're dealing with polynomials, rationals, radicals, exponentials, logarithms, systems, equations, and matrices. Um, there are additional topics to this course that we are not going to include. But what we should be able to do at the end of this course is demonstrate an understanding and knowledge of properties of functions. That includes domain, range, operations, compositions, combinations, and inverses. So that's actually going to be your second unit. Then we're going to be able to look at polynomials, radicals, rationals, exponential, and logarithmic functions. We're going to apply graphing techniques to a variety of functions. We're going to evaluate all roots of higher degree polynomials and rational functions. And then we should be able to recognize, solve, and apply systems of linear equations using matrices. So some of these are little like bunched together in different ways than it says on here. I tried to set up this course so it's a little different than the one I usually run. Just a little bit of information about me. Not much. Originally from Michigan, came to Texas. This is still like within my first year working for Alamo College. Okay. As far as course expectations, you're expected for the most part to just turn everything in on time. And you're going to have some quick deadlines here because, like I said, this is a 3-week course. This is a course that usually runs 15 weeks. So you're doing it 5 times faster. So instead of giving you necessarily like a week to do the homework, you have like it opens, you have a couple days to go through the material, do the homework. And I've tried to keep those homeworks down to less than probably 45 minutes for the most part for each one. So it should not be taking up your entire day doing that homework. You'll probably spend more time watching the videos, to be honest. Exams on time, so each unit will have an exam. So you complete the unit, take the exam. We're going to, and then respond to discussion boards every unit before the due date. And then contact an instructor when you have questions or problems, and also be polite to everybody in the course. Definitely, if you have questions, contact me as soon as you can. So my policy, and I put this in the syllabus as well, is that usually it might take me 2 days to answer an email because depending on what you send to me, it might be something quick that I can just quickly send you a response back. If you're asking for something that's a little more involved and I have to might do some digging and looking for something, you might expect like 48 hours. If you don't hear from me for 48 hours, it usually means I did not get your email. You have to contact me again. And any grade assignments, but this is for your case, this shouldn't be a problem. Everything should auto grade for you, but within a week, you should be able to see all your dates for anything. And actually, you should be able to see it within a day, to be honest. I'm here to answer any of your questions you may have. If you do have questions and you need to meet me, most likely it's going to be virtually because we're a fully online course. And most of the college is going to be kind of closed down during the summer. I can come in and meet with you face to face, but there's no set hours. And we just have to like I said, there's no set hours, meaning we have to plan ahead. So you have to email me and then we can plan a time to meet virtually or face to face. And most of this is the same stuff that's in your syllabus, so that's why I'm just hitting this. This is the book we're using, College Algebra with Intermediate Algebra in it. So you do not have to get a copy of this book when you have this My Math Lab access, which you should have had when you signed up for the course. You have an e-copy of this book along with it. You do not have to purchase this. This is already coming with your, like I said, with your My Math Lab access. I do recommend a TI 30 or 36 to get through material, or you can use the Desmos Scientific or Graphing Calculator phone apps. If you're going to do Desmos, you probably need both of these to kind of help you out a little bit. I definitely recommend this Graphing Calculator app. It helps you look through the material and gather stuff about graphs a little easier. So like I said, this is set up, I might have weeks, but I have by day too. So the first day you start this course, you're going to start on linear equations and you're going to go over slopes and you're going to slopes of linear equations is mostly what you're going to do that first part, and then some stuff about x and y intercepts. So the assignment opens on the 19th. By the 21st, you should have completed that homework. Like I said, because I want to keep you on time, because if you start getting behind, you're going to get behind very fast. Like everything you see here, you have pretty much like 2 days after you should be looking at it to finish it. And I have everything all open at once. So if you want to work ahead, you can do that. I just want to give you some sort of set deadlines so you don't find yourself in the last week trying to cover 3 weeks of material. And then the unit exams. So after May 1st is when we do this last part that's linear equations. Then you're going to have to May 25th to get that unit 1 exam in. So the homework comes quicker than, so the homework due dates are sooner than you would have for the unit exam, because the unit exam's covering everything. I'm just giving you a little more time to study. But as you see, it's set up like this. So pretty much every day, a new unit, you could be looking at a new unit and start working on that homework. So for the very last week, I left a little room for us. So technically, we're going to finish on the 12th day of this class, or June 3rd is when we're going to cover our last unit. And that U exam, unfortunately, the way it was set up is going to follow that final exam date. But like I said, kind of thinking you're probably going to work ahead. You have that exam, and then you have your final exam, which is cumulative. So units cover the unit material. That final exam will cover everything. Okay. And then this is just a little extra information. So let me go back here to home. So here on the home page, like I said, some basic information, how to contact me, a little bit about my hours. Like I said, I have no set hours. We can do virtual meetings, most likely is what we're going to do. If you need to do face-to-face, let me know and I can try to get here. But that's what's on that first page. So if you want to get to all your stuff, you have to go to module. Okay, so let me go to student view here. So this orientation module is what I started going through when I started from the home page. So we'll go through this, and as you see, you need to complete all the items in a module. So one of the ones you're going to have is this biosig assignment. So this is going to tell you how to do it, but biosig, and it's not going to work for me because I'm not a student. It's going to see if it'll let me do it here. So you need to choose what kind of device you're going to use, and whatever you pick, keep using it, because sometimes it gets a little confused. And what it's going to do is it's going to run you through several versions of trying to identify your password. I think I might have changed it last time. But it's going to run you through a couple times to see, oops, I accidentally went ahead. Like I said, you're just going to set up a device, and I'm already set up here. That's why it's looking like this. Whatever it is you use, and that's going to send you through a list of prompts. So if you have like a stylus, which I originally set this up with, you're going to draw in a 4-number pin with that stylus. So it's going to do that, and ideally it's going to recognize your ID after you do enough times. This can be a bit of a pain. We're supposed to have this in here. So just to show you what we have, after you do that biosig, and we go through here, this is your first module. So if you go through this module, you have to look at your overview, your content, then you're going to do this biosig before the rest of this opens up. And the purpose of this is to sort of make sure that it's you getting into the course is the idea. To make sure that whoever's doing the material is the person who did the biosig. So it's kind of like having respondus or something like that. It's just a way to just sort of verify who's in the course. However, this does get a little sticky sometimes. So if you're like do this like several times and you cannot get your BioSig ID to work, just send me an email, let me know. And we'll try to work some way around that. Like I said, let me go back up here again. That was the one part of the orientation module didn't go through. You have student resources. So what's Canvas, how to use Zoom, your academic resources. There's a bunch of information in here, student conduct. You've probably seen it before. Then there's My Math Lab for Student. So this is where all your homework is, and this is where your textbook is. Mostly the two you're going to use are the textbook and all assignments. So if I click on textbook, and hopefully it'll let me in. No matter which you click on, you're going to have to verify you are who you are. Or you're going to have to accept this. And then you have to, I think I'll let you write in. There we go. You do have to do that license agreement, and then you can see your book. If you go over table of contents, you can go to the section that we're covering. So let's say we're doing matrices. And we were doing systems of equations with matrices. You can click right on it and look at it. You can also bookmark a page. So let's say I move over a page. If you want to go pages, you just click on these buttons here. Let's say I want to keep this page. I could bookmark it. And then I can go back to my bookmarks and it'll tell me that page. So you can save pages in here. There are also some things, there's a few videos in here as well. So if my videos don't work, there's extra videos for each section. There are other resources in here for you to use. Okay, so let me go back to the module. Then you have all assignments, like is the other one you'll use. Right now, these are only things that you can see are just the unit exams. But eventually what you'll do is you'll open that and you can see all your homework in there. So if I leave student view here, what you should see would be more like this, a whole list of assignments. So you'll see your first few assignments, then your unit exam, the assignments, then the unit exam. So it's all set up too. It's all in order in here. You should be able to see your due dates as well and everything. So if you notice anything seems off, just let me know, because on occasion I save something and it doesn't work right, or Canvas doesn't want to behave properly and something doesn't work right. If any of these dates seem like they're off to you, or you seem like you're locked out of assignment you think you should be into, just let me know. However, one of the pluses of this is, let me go back. So one of the things that tends to happen is I also have, like I said, this is your unit, so review biosig. We'll talk about discussion in a second, but you have the homework assignments here. These links will take you right to the assignment, which isn't open right now, but it will take you right to those assignments. If you cannot get these to open, so when these lock, they won't let you in, but you can still get into the homework. You just have like a 2-point deduction for each day that the assignment is late. So if you happen to miss the deadline, you can still get back into that assignment and work on it. You just have to go through all assignments and it opens everything up. So there is a tendency, I would suggest using all assignments to get to your assignments. So this is to kind of let you know what's going on. These links, if you click on them and you do the assignment, sometimes it will not let you go back and correct the assignment. So you have to go through all assignments. All right, so when assignment's up and working, you should see something like this come up. So one of the nice things here is you do have multiple chances to do something. So let's say I put this in as my answer and I check it and I'm wrong. And then I'm right. So you have 3 chances, and after 3 chances, what's going to happen is it's going to actually reset our problem. Oh, let me get this one wrong several times. As you see, it keeps trying to give me hints as each time I do it. Eventually, it's going to come up and tell you what the correct answer is and what your answer is. You can go to Skill Builder if you want to. Nope, it's not going to let me do it this time. Like I said, when I'm trying to do this in secret mode, it's a little weird. Uh, Sometimes you can go to that Skill Builder. Sometimes it's not going to let you in there for like I did right there. You'll see it'll tell you what the answer should have been as well. But you can always go back to get a similar question. Okay. So I'm in preview mode, that's why it won't let me open that. So you're able to redo that stuff. Okay. Down here, you have help me solve this. This will help you run through the question. And as a warning, you might fill in these boxes here. And it'll check your answers. Like, yeah, you got it right. However, you still have to go back and you still have to do this problem. So this helped me solve this, helps you walk through the steps, but you still have to go back to your original problem and put in an answer. So even though you submit stuff in the help me solve this, it is not helping you answer the question. We also have view example, so that will run you through an example to look at. Get more help. Now, if you click on get more help, you can go to the textbook or you can ask your instructor. So that will work for you. So if you just click on that, it will actually send you this homework, this particular question to me. So it's on the one you're working on. So the only downside is if you send me this question and then you go get similar question, I'm still going to get the old one, but I can still give you an answer on how to work on that last problem. All right. So that's just a quick run through of how we're going to work through that homework. Okay. So some other important things here. Like I said, you're going to have these homeworks. There's also a unit discussion. So each unit has a little discussion. It's usually something quick, like this first one is introduce yourself. I think this one's like your favorite movie or book or something. So a lot of them are pretty easy, quick things. The part of the purpose of these unit discussions is to kind of get you guys talking to each other because you are your greatest resource really working on this course. If you can kind of get somebody you can work with, it helps you get through a lot of things much easier. So it is always nice to talk to someone else. Also, because it's a way for me to keep track of you very quickly to see that you're getting through homework on time or going through modules on time. We also have those Unit 1 exams. So when you click on those, it will take you to exam. So with the exams, you're going to have 2 attempts at that exam. And the unit exams give you 90 minutes to run through the exam. So you get 90 minutes and 2 attempts. The highest graded attempt is the one that's going to be recorded. And to finish out the module, you do have to review this Unit 1 wrap up. And then that whole module is completed. And as you see, I put a date on here about when I expect that, or about when you should be working on this module. Then we have the final exam. So this is the only one I have a review for, because the other ones pretty much pull questions from your homework. This one is covering everything that we did in all those units. So we have a final exam review. So like I said, this is Maymester 2025. This is your final review, and this is not graded. This is just practice. And then you do have your final exam here. So everything is actually open now to the end of the semester with the exception of the final exam review and the final exam. Those open the week before we get to June 5th. So this is June 5th, so everything should open on the 29th for you. So it gives you a whole week just to give you time to get through this material, digest it before you try to do that final exam. Okay, so other things that are important here, like there's the discussions, your grades, the grades that you're going to be looking for will be here. Usually my math lab will sync up your grades pretty well, but occasionally something might be missing. So you can always check here to make sure that all your grades are recording, and you should be able to see everything that's in the course. And then these are the units that we have. So your final grade is going to come from part of it being from assignments, unit exams, discussions, final exams, and ungraded. And then you should have your total grade for the course down here once you have some material in here. We also have BrainFuse online tutoring. So if you need some sort of tutoring, like say in the middle of the night when I'm asleep and I can't help you at all, you can launch BrainFuse. So you can pick, like what do you need, like what topics and everything, and then it will get you a tutor. You can connect or you can check availability, but it will get you a tutor that you need for your topic. And if you don't like the tutor, you can always close it out and open up again and try to get a new tutor. Sometimes people just don't like the tutors they get the first time and then they don't try again. Like I said, you can close it and open it again. But this is a service that is paid for by the college. You have a limited amount of, there we go, 300 minutes to work with. As I was told, we have an excess of minutes. So if you actually run out of that 300 minutes, contact me and I can see if I can get you some more minutes. We also have NLC tutoring. You can look at that as well. Like I said, here are your discussions, course syllabus. Most of the material that's in your course syllabus was listed elsewhere in the course. There's just a few things. There we go. Yes, I acknowledge I read it. Things I wanted to mention. I do have an office phone here. Probably not the best way to contact me. That's why, because we're going to be in the summer and most of the buildings are going to be closed. Most of your contact with me would be through Canvas or email. Your books. This is the layout of how we're doing this course. I'm just checking, make sure it saves properly. Your discussion board should take up 5% of your grade. Your homework is going to be 25% of your grade. Yeah, it did skip correctly. I have to fix some of this. Your unit exams, that's 50% of each one. There's 5 unit exams worth 10% of your grade, and your final exam is going to be worth 20% of your grade. And then in your expectations, like I said, course policies, watch your unit videos under unit content for each module. Those videos will mention worksheets sometimes. I excluded the worksheets from this course, so it was less things that you have to worry about. So I pulled out worksheets. So there are going to be some times where there's a pause in the video and it refers to the worksheet, and then you'll see a question with a number on it. That refers to certain worksheets that like I said, that are pulled from the course for right now. So don't worry about that. It's still just extra problems to work on if you want to. You're expected to respond to discussion boards each unit. You're expected to sign into the biosig for each unit. Assignments will be assigned basically each day. Like I said, everything's open at once, but each day you should be working on a new unit, not a new unit, but a new section of material. And there is going to be homework associated with that. So each day there's new homework that you should be working on. Like I said, this is going to be a very fast-paced course. You're encouraged to try to work with other classmates and ask for assistance when you need it. You are basically expected to be respectful. I mostly refer to message boards. Try not to be, try to be friendly to each other is really what we're asking. Assignments will not be accepted after final exam day. Final exam day, like on June 5th, is the last day of class. I cannot accept any material. I have to start getting your grades in. Everything has to be completed by the due date. If something happens, here's some valid excuses. Something happens, like let's say you get horribly ill and you can't finish the exam on time. You lose internet or housing. That happens sometimes and you can't find any. Let me know about that. Shouldn't be too much a problem online, but on occasion, loss of childcare. If you have a really, really small child, that can be a problem in an online class. If you have funeral dates to keep you from doing material, surgeries. So this is kind of stuff that keeps you out of an online class. Let me know and we could try to, like I said, work around that and make sure that you can still be successful and still complete those exams. And then you may be asked to provide documentation of your situation. So I may just ask you to provide something just showing me the reason that you couldn't complete the exam. And then at that point, it's my decision whether I will grant you an extension or not. I do not plan on changing due dates for individuals. Due dates will be changed if I believe the whole class needs to have the date changed. Some people have accommodations, so they may be allowed to do things that others are not allowed to do because I have to grant those accommodations. And once again, if you have questions, email me. I should respond within 48 hours. If not, I probably didn't receive your email. And I most likely will not answer emails after 8 p.m. I do sleep eventually, so there are times that I will not be able to answer emails. And then your schedule's in here one more time. Before I stop, one thing I wanted to point out, I forgot. So homework, like I said, will be assigned daily. I did mention this, but I just want to point it out again. After the due date, the assignment will remain open. However, you will have a 2% grading penalty for each after the due date that's late, which is better than nothing. You will need to open all assignments from the My Math Lab module, which I'll show you here in a second again, to open those assignments after the due date. And what I mean is right here, my Math Lab student resources, My Math Lab all assignments. If you open that, anything that was closed, you should be able to still get into. And if you can't get into it once you go through all assignments, send me an email because occasionally My Math Labs likes to scramble with my settings. So I'm glad, sorry, I'm having a problem with the video. Hopefully this is an easy, quick course for you. Like I said, you just have to be vigilant and make sure you stay on top of everything because it is going to be very fast paced. You are essentially doing within a couple days, a week's worth of material. So just need to stay on top of that material and you should be fairly successful and get through this course quick and easy. And just remember, everything is open. So if you want to work ahead, you should be able to work ahead. And there are 2 weekends where I don't assign extra homework, but there may be stuff that is due those weekends. So that's a little extra time for you to start working on material if you needed to. Anyways, good luck.